About a month ago, a banner went up in downtown Portland, Maine that read, "We were here first, Oregon. You're not even a port." Of course, both those statements are completely wrong. For one, the first city of Portland is actually in England, and also pretty sure the Wabanaki were residing in that part of the country first. And we do have a port. It's actually much larger than Maine's. So why all the hate? No matter the coast, we're all Portlanders. We should be a united front, you know? So today on CityCast Portland, we're talking with comedian Mo Awale, a Portland Mainer, about our respective cities, their differences, and many similarities. We're gonna squash this beef once and for all. It's Monday, May 22nd. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what both Portlands are talking about. Mo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, you are in a way representing all of Portland, Maine, so...
I gotta say, if you're looking for, a representative for Portland, Maine, you picked, the weirdest one.
Explain.
I'm Somali, I'm an African, I'm an immigrant to Portland, Maine, and I also have a shellfish allergy. I can't even eat lobster, so I'm, the worst Mainer to pick. So I remember that was one of my first... I'm like, what? Why me?
Oh, look, this is how we roll. Okay, Mo?
That's how you roll.
We wanted to talk to you, though, because I think you're the perfect Portland Mainer, by the way. But I was wondering, have you heard of the famous coin toss? Like how we also got the name Portland over here in Oregon?
Not until recently. So it was a coin toss between your founders, because one of the founders lived in Portland, Maine. And the other
one lived
in
Boston.
Boston. That was the coin flip.
Right. So I was wondering if we were to have a new coin toss, if it was to happen. But this time it was to see who would keep the name. And whoever lost, the other city would get to name them. So I wanted to ask, what your suggestions would be for a new Portland, Oregon name, because I have a few for you. What do you think of Not Boston?
Not Boston.
Or Portland Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. We also have Also Portland. There would be a comma in there. Or Rock Lobster, which honestly would be amazing, and I think you should do it. Or just Lobster for the conservatives.
I don't think it could live here anymore if it was Lobster. So Maine is known for having weird names for towns. So there's a China, Maine. There's a Belgium, Maine. There's Berlin, Maine. There's a Dexter, Maine, where a lot of people go missing. It's there are a ton of different towns. So I like Rock Lobster. If I was going to vote for any, at least that way we're not also anything or not anything.
What about for Portland, Oregon? What would be our new names?
See, I wanted to represent Maine and Portlanders the right way. We're nice people. The people who made this article, they don't represent us. I think the James Beard is from Portland. Beard City.
Oh, I love
works for me.
It works on so many levels too, because there's so many beards here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would go to Beard City.
Well, the thing that you said, Portlanders are known for being nice, and I do believe that. I feel like Portland, Oregon does have hey, we're real nice, and that's what I've heard exactly about Portland, Maine. But I was wondering, do you know of any other stereotypes that you might have to your neighbors?
Portland in particular, we're known for being hipsters. Southern part of Maine is very liberal. Northern part of Maine is pretty red. So there's definitely Portlanders. If we go up north, it's oh, the snowflakes have come.
To be honest, that's a big stereotype that our neighbors have of us too here in Oregon, is that, Portlanders here, that we are the liberals, we're all gay, which honestly could be true. And that, we love to riot. Do you guys like a good protest?
We do like a good protest. I'll tell you, you guys had the better protests during the height of 2020.
We had the bigger party over here.
When we showed out. We tried.
I'm curious, you said before about the stereotype being that Portland, Maine has hipsters. And I'm just curious, what is a Portland, Maine hipster? What does a Portland, Maine hipster look like?
Oh, man, I gotta say, we got a lot of people in ripped up jeans in the summer that aren't really down for the cause, that bought them ripped up. We've got a lot of people that go to fancy coffee shops that aren't that great. Lots of dogs and breweries, a big deal. But I don't think I think you beat us in hipsters because when I think of a Portland, Oregon hipster, I think Portlandia. I think high levels of irony with somebody walking, talking about Marxism while holding a Starbucks cup, passing a homeless encampment with their iPods on. It's just that's what I think of when I think of like an ironic Portland hipster. But
Well, I mean, I think you nailed it. I love that I asked you what's your interpretation of a hipster in Portland, Maine, and you're just like, I don't know, it's crazy, but let me tell you about your hipster. You just really you really flipped that, you really turned that table around.
You caught me. You caught me.
All right, well, let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, I want to know what Portland Mainers are complaining about, because here in Portland, we have a long list. What do locals get pissed off about in your neck of the woods? Like, I'll start off in Portland, Oregon. We have a deep hatred for Californians, plastic bags, big box stores, or outside chains. We love and hate the sun. And we hate green grass. You know, if it's summer and you're just seeing someone just like dump a bunch of water in their lawn, the whole neighborhood is judging them.
In Portland, parking. I witnessed my girlfriend get very angry last week. When we were coming back home, and the sweeper was coming through, and there was no off street parking. But we're a growing city, so parking is a huge problem. And a lot of New Yorkers come in, and it's a point of contention. Mainers like a little bit of space when you park behind them.
Mm-hmm.
They want a little bit of space. They kind of want like a quarter of a car length, ideally.
That's not a little bit of space.
They want some space.
Okay.
From them. But New Yorkers, they park tight. They're parallel parking. They're parking tight. So that's a huge point of contention. Like I've seen people lose their mind and leave passive aggressive notes. That's how we handle things over here. We write strongly worded letters. And
or semi-strongly worded letters.
And just clip them. New Yorkers moving in, raising the cost of rent. If you buy a condo or a house in the state of Maine in general, and you're from any place, even especially New York, that we hit on New York pretty hard post pandemic. We hate you. We don't want you here.
Yeah, Mo, I visited your beautiful city a handful of weeks ago, and I learned about this phrasing of how you call people who don't live in Maine, and I love it. It's like from away.
You're not from here, you're from away.
That's the big main thing.
From away.
From away.
From away. That's really interesting.
Yep. Yeah. If you moved here, if you're a transplant, you're from away.
I've heard that before.
I mean, we have a similar thing in Oregon too, where we're just like, oh, you moved here. And it's like, guess what? You moved here too. Everyone moved here.
There is a point where you have to address the irony, because I came to this country in 1998. My family immigrated here. I'm from way away originally. Southern Maine, new Americans are far more welcome. The idea of having, hey, somebody new moved to this country and moved to our city and to support it economically is huge, because we're an older state. I don't know if Oregon is the same, but our state is older in the sense that, not colonial sense, but in the population sense. We have a huge retirement community. We have snowbirds. A lot of people that part-time live here in the summer, part-time live in Florida in the winter, which causes a labor shortage. I think the issue is having wealthy people from away come and buy property.
Yeah.
And, just so they can enjoy our restaurants and our bars and things that are supported by working class people in the service industry and immigrants as the Uber drivers who get them to their condos when they're drunk, and the working class people who've been here for so long in those bars. Not to take this to a sad point, but that's...
No, but I feel like that is a big concern that is happening here in Portland, Oregon as well. But speaking of the food service industry, or just the service industry in general, what's the number one Portland food, or like what is considered very Portland, Maine food? Because Portland, Oregon, we love vegan junk food. Like, that's kind of what we're known for outside is vegan junk food, beer, coffee, and weirdly donuts, because I'm going to say something sacrilegious here, but I don't think our donuts are that great.
Are the donuts worth it? That is one big thing. No.
Here's the thing. I was born in Los Angeles, but I came up here so long ago and never moved away. And so I've had good donuts. And when I moved up here, I'm just letting you know, our donuts are pretty. Our donuts have a lot of personality and they have branding. You know, like our donuts have good stories behind each and every one, but they just don't taste as good as the donuts I've had in Portland, Maine.
They have wonderful personalities. It sounds like these
that's what I'm saying. These donuts have wonderful personalities. I feel like, you know, people would get along really well with our donuts, but are they good? I don't know. I think they're okay. They're okay. But I want to know what, you know, is your considered like this is our export.
So I'm Muslim. I have a shellfish allergy. So lobster rolls are quintessential Portland, Maine. And two, red snappers are a big thing here. So red snappers are the red hot dogs that are often full of pork. I think it's like a tube of Spam, to be real with you. But if we're at donuts, if we're talking about donuts, it has to be Holy Donuts, our potato-based donut.
Potato-based?
Potato.
That sounds awesome.
Flour-based donuts. I'm 2 blocks away from them. They're amazing. Anderson Cooper approved. I think they were on with Anderson Cooper.
Well, if Anderson Cooper approves, I mean.
In Anderson Cooper, we trust. Whoopie pies. We're the home of the whoopie pie.
I didn't know that. I had a whoopie pie for the first time when I visited, and it was like overwhelming because it's just big, but also so delicious. It was so good.
And I love the fact that in Maine, we haven't tried making whoopie pies artisanal. We haven't tried. Nobody's trying to make like fancy whoopie pies.
Yeah, you know, the one I had was from a food cart that was located like in a beer, like a brewery. I forget the name of everything, of course. But it was a food cart that was selling lobster rolls. But that's what I had when I visited your city, of course, was a beer, lobster roll, and a whoopie pie. And it was amazing, Mo. It was so good. But yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what are the stereotypes that you guys have about Portland, Oregon, if you even think about us? Because it seems like you do, because of that banner that you that someone hung up, even though it was taken down unceremoniously, just like, but I'm just curious, like, what are the stereotypes?
Well, I got to be honest about those banners. I looked into it a little bit more, and the groups behind it included Mecca, which is our art college, which is great. It's a great art college, but I assume a lot of those people are from Boston or from away.
Okay, they're from away. Okay.
So I assume the lack of research has to do with the lack of Mainers. But
Fair.
Growing up, the only thing is, and I hate to keep pointing at my race, but I am a black man who lives in Portland, Maine, and when I tell people I'm from Portland, they immediately go Oregon. So my entire life, people have been like I was in New York, this guy was trying to sell me a mixtape, and he's like, "Where you from, man?" I'm like, "I'm from Portland." He's like, "Oh, I love the Blazers," or like just like, and like it's like, "Oh, me too." Like, but
sorry, are you trying to tell me that the stereotype outside of Portland, Oregon, is that we have black people? Because I want you to know right now that is hilarious, because we're considered the whitest city in America.
In his head, Portland, Maine, didn't come into play. Yeah. I'm sure he was like, "Oh, Portland, Oregon. Oh, dude, I'm sorry you're alone out there." But he knows what Portland, Oregon is through the Trailblazers. Yeah. But like, it's this. I know you guys lack diversity too, but it's just been a constant. But no, I don't think the average Portlander is thinking about Portland, Oregon outside of that comparison.
Mo, so before we go, I was wondering, would you just play a game with me, which is non-binding, but did you just want to do a new coin toss to see who gets to keep the name Portland?
Let's do it.
How do you want? So I got a penny here.
I want to see both sides of the coin.
Okay, I understand. So I have a penny right here, and I'm going to flip it. What would you like, heads or tails?
Let's do heads.
Okay, heads. You got heads. Are we going to be Beard?
I'm going to go with Beard City.
All right. Sorry, Portland, I lost this for us. We are now Beard City.
The Los Angeles person lost it for you. Of all things. The call is coming from inside the house, Portland, Oregon. I mean, Beard City.
I'm so sorry. But honestly, Beard City's pretty cool. Like, I'm not just saying that because we lost. I'm just saying that's not that bad. It could be worse. We could be not Seattle.
Or we could have been not Boston. So
You would have
I'll accept it.
You're always gonna be Rock Lobster in my heart, Mo.
I think I'll that's how I'm gonna be. So I'm gonna move forward for now. That's my new Instagram tag, Rock Lobster.
You know, this isn't the first time we've been pitted against Portland, Maine. Back in 2018, the Seattle Sounders unleashed a hilarious campaign ahead of their rivalry match with the Portland Timbers, where they paid for billboards in our downtown that read, "Seattle loves Portland, Maine, the better Portland." Honestly, brilliant. But the commercials they posted online were even funnier, and I'm going to play one for you right now. You're going to hear Sounders midfielder and Maine-born Roger Levesque in the following clip.
You know I love Portland. Its beautiful waters, fine art galleries, hip donut shops, amazing organic farmers markets. I love Portland, and you should too, Seattle, because Portland is an amazing place to live and play soccer. I should know. I lived here and played soccer here too. Portland is the best. Portland, Maine. The best Portland.
I mean, they got us. And now for your microdose of news. A Portland elementary school canceled their scheduled Pride Festival, which included drag performers, over safety concerns. Atkinson Elementary School parents asked the district for help with security and did not receive it. Conservative media, including The Lars Larson Show and Libs of TikTok, had highlighted the event and caused a social media uproar, where commenters said they would show up to protest the event. And 6 more Republican senators are potentially ineligible for re-election for ongoing walkouts from the Oregon legislature. They join 4 other Republican senators who have also racked up 10 unexcused absences throughout this session. If you remember, voters last year overwhelmingly approved Measure 113, which disqualifies lawmakers from serving their next term if they miss 10 floor sessions without permission. For even more local news and events, sign up for our daily newsletter, Hey Portland. We'll throw a link in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Beard City. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.